everybody and welcome back to my channel. Today I've decided to do some little paintings here on these tiny little canvases. Now these canvas panels here that I'm showing are 4x4, which is 10 centimeters by 10 centimeters. I also have this slightly larger one which is 4x5, so I believe that is 10 centimeters by 13 centimeters, and it's also got a bit of a thicker style. It's more of the stretched canvas instead of the canvas board. I also have these little paintbrushes here, which I also bought because, to be honest, I needed some really small paintbrushes, and yeah, they actually turned out really nicely. Now, I believe these little paintbrushes here were $4.50. The small canvas panels were $1 each at my dollar store, and the larger canvas was $2.50, I believe. So that's actually pretty good. And yeah, I just wanted to try it out, you know, have some fun with some painting, and yeah, see where it takes me. Now, I wasn't actually sure what to paint on these canvases at first. I was a little bit strapped for ideas, so I actually tweeted out asking, and also I asked my partner Jesse what I should draw, and he came up with the idea to draw some ants, because like it was a tiny canvas, so I should draw some tiny creatures. So I actually rolled with that idea, and yeah, I started off with a nice even coat of a light green paint. And for these paints, I'm actually using my Sonjas matte fluid acrylic paints. I really love these paints because, well, they have a matte look to them instead of a glossy look, and they're also fluid, like more watery than regular paints. Obviously not too watery, but I don't know, they just feel really nice when I paint with them, and yeah, I don't have to mix too much water with them either, and yeah, it just gives a nice, you know, smooth feel to the painting, I guess. But yeah, for this painting I wanted to do a sort of effect where there's some grass, and then in the middle of the picture there's like a magnifying glass, and inside the magnifying glass is obviously a larger image of the grass, and you can actually see ants within the grass. And for this painting I was kind of just, you know, testing the waters. I didn't want to try to do anything too impressive yet, because obviously I'm not used to painting in this scale, and to be honest, I'm not really used to painting with acrylic paints either. I have done a few little paintings here and there, but of course I want to improve, so yeah. So what I actually did was I started off with a ring of smaller looking grass around the outside, and then I left that part in the middle blank at first, and then after I got the ones around the outside done, I actually painted inside the middle part with very larger pieces of grass. Now at the moment it kind of just looks like grass with, you know, big grass in the middle, but once I actually paint the magnifying glass over it, it makes a lot of sense. I tried to get a few different variations in the grass, so obviously I painted a nice green color, and then I went over with some highlights, and then after that I actually went in with a darker green to do some shadows as well, just to try and define the grass a little bit and, you know, make it look nice. And after that I just kept playing around with the shapes and the textures, making sure some of the grass blades bent over, because I don't know, I kind of like that look, I guess, you know. And yeah, I just kept messing with it until I was happy with the result. After that, I finally painted in a large circle with some grey paint. I basically just used my black, but obviously I added a little bit of white in there to make it not too dark. And then I made a nice big circle around the outside, and obviously painted a handle for the magnifying glass. Now in my vision I, you know, planned to have a hand holding it, but I decided to omit that because I didn't want too much detail, and if I had a hand holding it I'd have to make the magnifying glass a bit smaller, so yeah. After that, after I painted in the handle and stuff, I decided to use some white to add sort of reflection on the inner part of the magnifying glass, just to try and allude to it being glass and not just a hoop. And after that, I finally went in and drew all the little ants. Now this painting is pretty cute actually. I'm quite pleased with the artwork. It's obviously quite simple, however I kind of like the effect where it's a magnifying glass. I think it looks cute, and yeah, I don't know, it just kind of shows a tiny little world where you wouldn't expect it, and yeah, I thought it was pretty neat because it's like a tiny creature for a tiny canvas. Now for my next artwork, I kind of wanted to do a little landscape style artwork on this canvas, and I decided to actually go in with a sunset gradient. You know me, I'm always wanting to do gradients in my artworks. I just really love how paints and markers and any other kind of art supply really actually you can blend the colors into each other, and it just looks so nice and pretty. It's an aesthetic which I really like. So yeah, I really wanted to do a sunset with some silhouetted trees and a ground, and yeah, I kind of wanted to add in some little Bob Ross style trees. Lately I've been watching Bob Ross and I just love the way he does trees, so I just wanted to do it myself as well. And I actually got the idea not to just to do trees, but I decided to do a little deer in the middle as well. Mainly because I wanted something else, you know, to make it a little bit more interesting. And yeah, no, I actually really like this. It's quite simple, but the colors are really nice, and yeah, it looks good. So of course I put in those Bob Ross trees, and the main way I did that is you just do a line down from the top to the bottom and make it a little bit thicker at the bottom, and then you just go in with the paintbrush nice and speckly and do some like little branches coming off the trees. And yeah, it's actually pretty easy and simple to do. If you've watched any of Bob Ross's painting videos, he does it a lot, and yeah, no, I just really like the look of it. Now for this final canvas here, the larger one, I actually decided to use an idea from the Twitter post that I asked people to tell me what I reckon I should draw, and Claudia Cooper, which is Claudia Sketches, she actually said a blue whale or an elephant. It would be funny to draw some of the world's biggest animals on the world's smallest canvases, and I actually thought that was a really cute idea. I really liked it, and I actually wanted to try it out, so I decided to draw a whale on this artwork. So I started off with yet another gradient because, well, you know me, I love my gradients, but this is a sort of underwater gradient, so I used some lighter blues at the top and some darker blues at the bottom, and I decided to do a sort of aquary bluey greeny kind of color, mainly because I wanted the whale to be a different type of blue so that they would stand out nicely. And after I got that gradient down, I actually went in with some white and carefully did some little like light beams coming down from the surface of the water. I didn't do it perfectly, of course, but this is a tiny little canvas and we're just having fun today. So yeah, I actually really like the look, and I think it looks pretty cute. Now I know in this video a lot of these paints, they kind of glare a little bit while they're wet, but once it dries you can actually see the effect a lot better. After that, I decided to roughly paint in the shape of the whale, and after I was happy with that, I would fill it in with a nice blue color, obviously a different blue to the background, and then yeah, I just slowly added more details and shading here and there. I made the whale's flippers. Are they flippers? I think they're flippers. A darker blue color because that's what they looked like in the reference, and obviously its tummy is a slightly lighter color as well. And yeah, I just had fun playing around with the colors and the shapes and stuff until I was happy with the artwork. Now I made sure to paint in those lines on the whale's tummy. I'm not sure what those lines are for. I don't really know marine biology or anything like that, but they are an integral part of the whale, so obviously I wanted to draw them in so that, you know, it looks like a whale. And yeah, this actually was really fun to paint, and I don't know, I kind of really liked it. Even though it was a simple little painting, the end result was really cute, and I don't know, I really like it. So yeah, I'm actually definitely interested in doing this a little bit more on my channel. I wanted to know what you guys thought and if I should do more tiny paintings like this, because to be honest, it's a lot of fun, and it's also really cool because I don't use too much of my paints, because these are really nice paints and I don't want to waste them on a huge artwork. So having small little paintings is actually really fun. And yeah, after I, kept going with my whale, I just wanted to add little subtle shadows and highlights here and there with some darker blues and some white, almost white, but a little bit of blue added to it. And yeah, it was actually a lot of fun to do, and yeah. Now, a final thing I wanted to add to this little whale painting was that I thought that the framing wasn't exactly perfect, because the whale kind of goes off the end a little bit. So I decided to paint in some little, a school of little fish on the top right side of the painting. And yeah, that actually made it look a lot better, and I like it a lot more. Now finally, all I had left to do was give it a nice even coat of my matte varnish. Now this just protects the artwork a little bit and makes the colours look a little bit nicer as well. And yeah, it goes on a sort of milky look, but don't worry, it dries completely clear, and yeah, it just protects the artwork a little bit. Now here are the final artworks, and I am so happy with these. I had a lot of fun doing this, and yeah, they turned out really cute. I want you guys to comment below which one is your favorite and why, and if you had a tiny canvas, what would you paint on them? So thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video as much as I enjoyed making it. Make sure you check out my Twitter and Instagram just for little updates here and there. And yeah, make sure you hit like and subscribe, and I will see you in my next video. Bye everyone!